Hello, Kevin. Hello, Catherine. Okay, so today we're going to move on to move number 6, but before we do, let's do a couple of rounds through the first section just to warm up a little bit. So I'll lead the first one. Catherine, you can lead the second. If Rand comes in, he can lead the third. Okay, Catherine. Catherine, say something.
Bonsoir.
Two things, and this is not meant to be a critique of what Catherine just did, but watching her just reminded me of these things that I wanted to say the other day. Um, so I'm going to focus on two particular places in the form that we just did, but the general principle applies to every move, right? So you remember we were talking about doing. I'm going to do this up close enough to the camera that my body's big, even though I lose my feet here, right? So, right, this move here, and we've been talking about what that is. One of the things that you should keep in mind and begin practicing, and it's rather subtle, but it's really important. Your you can think of your arm as an axis, right? And it turns. Right? That's part of spiral power. Now it turns because your dantian is turning. Right? Watch this. This is turning and you're sinking in this qua. Now, one of the things that can help you kind of visualize that is to get a screwdriver. All right? And imagine that you're screwing something. That's very close to the proper way to treat this. There's you can imagine if you're using a screwdriver, right, to do something with a screw. The screwdriver is actually an extension of your arm. For your arm to be doing all kinds of stuff like that, you can't use the screwdriver, it won't work. Your arm actually is the screwdriver, and the screwdriver is just an extension of the arm, right? So if you grab a household screwdriver and just use that, or just, remember what it's like to use that, right? And screw. Does that make sense, Kevin?
Yeah, it makes sense. But your right shoulder is not raising up, even though it looks like it on camera. I think it's just your sweatshirt bunching up, but it looks like.
No, well, it's not. It is bunching up, I guess, but no, it's not. You shouldn't raise your shoulder. If you raise your shoulder, this won't work. It won't work, and you'll ruin your shoulder too, right? So the idea is not in any sense to depress your shoulder or your elbows. It's just to relax them. Just keep them relaxed. When you're using a screwdriver, you don't do this. I mean, that's crazy, right? You just go like this. Now imagine that it's a really tough, like it's a screw or something that has gotten rusted, and is a screw in metal that's rusted, so it does not want to come out. What's going to happen is you're going to end up using your core, because a little bit isn't going to work. You're going to have to really, boom, I'm going to have to use my weight, all right? That's exactly what Tai Chi is. It's exactly the same. All right, second thing. You guys should all know what this is, right? It's a child's toy. Right? It's a gyroscope, right? Your body works just like a gyroscope. If you put a gyroscope right here, that's what you are. Now, when this side on the front of the flywheel turns, the back side also has to turn. You can't just turn half a flywheel. The whole flywheel has to turn. Now, here's the point. human beings, including the four of us, are very oriented toward our front sides. Our faces are here, our tender middles are here, our interaction with other people are always face to face. We just forget that the back even exists, but it does exist. And all the time in Tai Chi, you are reaching out frontward, maybe directly to the front, maybe to the right, maybe to the left, but basically you're working in a 90-degree quadrant to your front. But Isaac Newton taught us that for every action there must be an equal and opposite reaction. What that means is, if you want this gyroscope to be effective and to work well, you have to keep Newton's principle in mind, or this will become unbalanced and it will fall over. So watch this move. Right here. All right, there's a lot going on in the front of the body. What balances out in the back? What balances all that motion? Watch again, and I'm going to stop about halfway through and make a point. Look, wow, you are really stretched out. And this is close to 180-degree stretch. It's at an angle, but it's almost 180 degrees. And then you walk through. Okay, wow, there's a lot going on in front. And what happens is everyone gets kind of hypnotized by all that stuff that's happening in front. What do I got to do? I got to do this, and I got to walk through, I got to do this, right? And you forget about the back. But if you shift from using your eyes to using your body sense, your proprioception, you should notice something as you do this. If you do it correctly, you will feel waves of chi moving around the back. Because when you have all this action going on out here, right, boom, there needs to be an equal in the back. Does this make sense? So, Kevin, I'll be right with you. I can't tell you exactly what you should do. What I'm telling you is just to be aware of it, and just keep a little bit of an eye open for it.
Um, yeah. So if you mention that, that means that you saw something while I was doing it that wasn't good. I mean, good. So can you explain to me why did you notice that?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
When I did it, I actually almost lost my balance.
Yeah.
So you saw it?
Um, yeah, but I was not saying this because of what you did.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
But in
in, other,
general.
in other words, I was thinking about this anyway,
Uh-huh.
and it's something you should be aware of. However, the fact that you almost lost your
Mm.
balance is sort of proof of what I'm trying to say.
Uh-huh.
If you want to keep the whole point of a gyroscope is balance.
Mm.
If you want to stay balanced, you have to keep in mind the back as well as the front. And that's very difficult to do if you're trying to do it through the neocortex executive function. It's easier to discover this and to work with it just by feeling things. And at first, you won't feel it at all. After you've done this 1,000 times, your body sense, you will get better at it. And as you get better, you will start to notice your body doing certain things just spontaneously. You don't have to make it happen. It will happen. You notice, oh, well, it's going around my back, as well as all this stuff happening in front. Oh, I feel it. I feel it going around my whole back. Right? Rather than try to make that happen, just be aware that things are going on in your body as your body becomes more sophisticated in its motion. Once you start to feel it, then explore it. Then start, well, what does that mean? How can I use that? So, Kevin.
So this move has always bothered me. And as I'm trying to figure it out, what I've been doing is, first off, you got to relax your lower back. I mean, there's no way you're going to feel anything if it's tight, and I guess you sit all the time. Your back's constantly tight. Second thing is until I learn to transfer my weight to my left quad, then move the arm,
Right.
then the back leg, the right leg could come up without losing my balance. But I had to transfer that weight forward, and you don't really, when you do it, and you have to do it when you make the move, and then you can come up.
Yeah. There are a lot of body mechanics that you have to get down, and then you need to work on the timing of all this, because the timing's critical, absolutely critical, all right? And once you get that, then it will start to smooth out. Until you get the body mechanics right and the timing right, it'll always feel awkward. Once you're past that initial awkward stage, which can take a couple of years of practice, then the phenomenon that I'm talking about will start to manifest itself. And if you're paying attention, you'll start to notice this stuff in your body. And then maybe very, very gently just start playing with it. You'll have a new toy, but don't break it. Just play with it gently. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And you really see it happen in this move, but it applies to all the moves. So the sine qua non of Tai Chi might be balance. All right, and so this is an important component of balance itself. Okay, let's do one more. Rand, you lead.
Okay.
Okay, move number 6. So move number 6 is called White Crane Spreads Its Wings. And if you've ever seen a crane standing in the sun in the morning, sometimes they will literally just open their wings, and what they're doing, of course, is just gathering sunlight. They're warming up, right, from a cool night. So that's kind of what it means there. So just the very last motion is the white crane. Okay, let's go through and count the yin and yang cycles on this. And as always, this is a little ambiguous. It's a little ambiguous, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, but I think we should simplify this down to 6 or so. The very beginning of this move. What Kevin? 7? Did I miscount?
Yeah, we had 7 last time. It was 8. We scratched it out, then put 7.
7. Okay. Well, that's what we're going toward again, right? The very first part of this, right? Watch this. All right. The very first part of this is that. And then we do the swing. And then the throw. All right. So you could count this as a move. So what are you doing? All right. Everybody reach out and grab my wrist. Come on, reach out and grab it. Okay. You've got hold of my wrist. What do I do? All right. Watch. It's a way to get out of a wrist lock or a wrist grab, you could say. Does that make sense? It's very effective. If you move against anybody's thumb, you can get out of something. So, imagine the person has hold of your wrist, right? I'm going to move against their thumb, and they won't be able to hold on to you unless they're very, very big and you're very small. 1. Now you could count that as a yin and yang cycle too. That's actually the use of an energy called psi, pulling down. All right. 1, 2. Let's just count it that way for now. 2. And now comes a throw. So those two moves are really quite simple. And just remember that you're doing both of those moves from your center. It's watch the center. Right? Here's the third one. The third one's going to take a little coaching. The third one's like a body throw. So your body is throwing somebody else's body. There's a lot of weight involved. There might be 150 or 200 pounds that you've got to throw. Now, you're going to have an advantage because you won't do a throw unless you have the leverage, unless things look good. Da yi da sure, right? If you're in the right position and if your opponent gives you the opportunity, then you can do a throw. But you don't purposely go out and try to do it. All right? Watch this arm. The whole upper part of my arm is just welded to my body. Why? Watch it again. Why?
Leverage.
Leverage, yes, but something else too. Look, you have two possible ways you can do it. Let me show you the wrong way to do this, the way where you're going to hurt yourself. That's not going to work. Because what'll happen is it's going to put all the strain on your shoulder joint. And your shoulder joint is weak. It's not a strong joint. So you're going to end up hurting yourself, even if you manage to throw the guy. All right? So what you do is, look, I want to throw him using my hand. I want to use my body, not my shoulder. All right? My body's throwing him. Yeah. Yes, good, Catherine. So you use your whole body to do this motion. And the way to do that is to weld your upper arm to your ribs. So if I want to move my hand, I've got to use my body. And that takes all the strain off your shoulder. Good, Catherine. Excellent. Okay, now that's true if you happen to be fighting vandals, right? You're fighting barbarians, so it's a good trick to know. But you can also use this same trick in anything you're doing around the house. If you've got to move a big piece of furniture, or you gotta lift up a couch or something, right? Don't lift it like this, right? Sink your arms down in and lift it with your legs and your core, right? Not this. Does that make sense? Kevin.
So back in the dark ages, when you taught this in the beginning, you did that as an elbow break versus a throw. Same principles there, or?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, all these moves, when I say this move is to do this thing, that's not really true. The move could be used for 50 different things. I'm just picking one. I'm picking the really simple, obvious one. That's what you need. The point of doing the form is not to practice martial applications. It's to practice the movement of your chi. And the combination of your mind and your chi and your ability to move it through your body, that's what you're doing. That's why it's really good for health, and it's the foundation of self-defense if you want to go on and use it for self-defense. But in fact, every move that we've talked about can be used for, I mean it, literally dozens of things. And I don't even know them all. right? Whenever I watch a master do applications, they always whip out some new one that I've never seen. And it's like, okay, well, maybe next time we'll do that one too. Next time around. All right, clear? 1, 2, 3. Now, there's something I should point out between move 2 and move 3. You should know this already, but I'm going to remind you of it. Remember I said whenever you sink, right, to the dantian in the ground, you always sink twice. The first one is to finish the move you're doing. The second one is to wind up for the next move to come. Right? Watch. One, two. It's really obvious there. All right? Okay, let's go on. 1, 2, 3. Now watch. Look left. Grab his wrist. Come behind at his elbow. And redirect him. In other words, somebody's punching, and they're probably punching toward your solar plexus. So what you do, here comes the punch in, right? The punch is coming in. You grab his wrist. He's already moving in this direction. All you have to do is just slightly change the angle of his punch. You don't have to stop it. You don't have to make it go 90 degrees. It's just you got to change it by 5 degrees so it misses you. All right? So instead of coming here like this, right, it goes like this. And the other hand comes, this is the wrist, this is the elbow. Clear? One, 2, 3, 4. Now watch my right toes right here. Pong, Lu, on, Chi. Now this is probably the trickiest part of the move because you're changing orientation 90 degrees. You started the movement doing this, and now you're going to end up doing this. And this is a move that when Kevin comes up, we will do this move, and I'll show you what it's for. But what you're doing is I can't make this float in space, right? You're coming up above somebody's arm. And then you're coming in, you're going down on their arm, and you're holding their wrist with your left. You put your right hand at their elbow, and then you move your weight forward. And I can guarantee you they will move. So the first, remember there's those 4 energies. Pum. Now you're coming up above their arms. Their arms are down here. Pum. Lu. You move right in against their chest. On. You sink down onto their arms and Qi, your energy is going out, you move them forward. Okay? Let me do this from a little different orientation. Instead of starting it like this, I'm going to start it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right toes in. Pung. Lu. On. G. Now, the first thing you should get is the footwork. There's a little tricky footwork in here. Let me describe the footwork, then we'll go back to the handwork. Right toes come in. Right toes come in, and then you step back like this. Right toes come in, step back. Is this clear? Okay. This is another one where coordination of the upper and lower body is really essential, but it may take you a couple of dozen times before that starts to work itself out. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. White crane. Okay, so after you're done with 5, right? Up above his arms, sink down to his arms, move him forward. Now, this next move, you've already taken care of that guy. Now here comes his evil twin brother. And what you're going to do is a joint lock. So essentially what you're doing is a figure 8. Right? If you were really doing it, it would look like that. Way to think about it, imagine I've got hold of Kevin's right hand, right? I'm going, by moving my Dan Chen, I'm going to twist his arm so his elbow is now up. And this hand is going to go down on top. If I don't like him and I want to break his arm, I go directly on his elbow. Otherwise, above his elbow, and then you put your weight down on it. Next one, I'm going to just hit a guy who was over here. Pop. All right? And you might be using the end of your fingers, right? Think of the end of your fingers going into his throat or his eyes. Right? So figure 8. Right? This could also just be a joint lock. Joint lock. Now I'm going to hit this guy over here to my right. So the first thing I do is move to my left and then hit him to the right. Now I'm going to finish with white crane. Right crane is also to the right, so I need to start from the left, tuck your shoulder in, and boom. White crane is a tricky move. You have to be young and limber, younger and more limber than I am. What you're doing is grabbing someone's arm. So the guy's standing here, and I've got his arm, which means there's an angle here. And what you're supposed to really do, right, is literally step down under, put your shoulder up into his armpit, and then throw him backward as you stand up in white crane. Oh, Kevin, we forgot one. This is actually going to end up being 9. Yeah. All right, now watch this hand. Put your fingers, say, right here on the guy's, right underneath the guy's collarbone. Now, watch my hand. Watch this. All right. You get it. You guys know Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. This is a 1-inch punch. You're using the heel of the hand down here to punch. All right. So you start here, boom, and then you punch. Boom. Boom. Kevin.
Yeah, you've hit me with this, but you didn't hit full force. I met a student of Bruce Lee's, a guy named James DeMille. Justin brought him to St. Louis.
Yeah.
We had 3 of the biggest guys in our class, our kung fu class there, and
Right.
one guy would stand and he'd have a phone book on his chest. The guy behind him would hug up to him, and the third guy would hug up to him. This guy just came up and went pop like that. All 3 of them went up in the air, and the guy in the middle had all the wind knocked out of him.
You know, you think, well, 1-inch, they mean 1-inch punch, of course, just a very short punch. It's not that it can actually be a punch you deliver from no inches, right? So directly on the body. But it just means, maybe under 6 inches or so, or under 4 inches. It's very powerful. Now, I'm no Bruce Lee, but even a total beginner, once you get it, all right? Watch my weight. You start with the weight on the hand, right? The side that's going to deliver it, right? And then you shift it. Right? Watch the daimai. So the thing that's creating this is the wheel that goes around your waist. Now there's a little arm in there too, but that's just like icing on the cake. It's not the cake. Okay, one time from the beginning, and then practice this during the week, and we'll review it next Saturday. I'll just do this at an angle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 yin and yang cycles in this move, and you should practice it a few times, going 1, 2, 3, 4. Get all of them down, because that's where the internal rhythm comes from. However, when you really do it, after you've absorbed all that, right, it's very gentle. But you will know what you're practicing. Even though like I'm not doing this, guys. All right. No, there are forms where you do that, but those forms are very tiring. This form is not tiring. This form is about gathering energy. It's like eating a good meal. So you just do it very, very gently. But you still understand the Xin Yi, and if you understand the Xin Yi, then you can begin to work out the Neigong, the internal energy dynamics, which is the real point of this. Okay, any final questions?
Kevin, the 7 to 9 is due to inflation.
It's a 20% inflation. That's right. Catherine, do not despair. Someday you will look back on all this and you'll go, I know it all. I'm a master. Right?
I don't despair.
Good. All right. Guys, have yourselves a great day. We'll see you next time. Ciao.